Hello CTK Tech Team. This is a brief little video on how to set up a monitor mix, a front of house mix, and a live stream broadcast mix for our X32 here at CTK Gibson's. So first of all, let's just take a quick look at the board. We're going to keep it very simple. When you first turn the board on, it'll probably look something like this. And so on the left side here, we've got our 16 input channels. So let's go through that right now. Channels 1 to 16, your first button here on the left. This is all of our inputs. On 3 and 4, we've got our keys, guitar, bass, drums, pastor mic, wireless mic, mic 2, 3, 4. So this is just 16 inputs. Any ones blacked out are ones we're not using right now. If we go to the next page, that's channels 17 to 32. So this is another 16 more inputs we have available to us that we aren't actually using right now, but it gives us room for the future if we have more inputs. And all these inputs, 1 to 16 and 17 to 32, come from the front snake in behind the stage. If we go to the third button here, it's aux in USB effects returns. And so on 1 and 2 here we have PC, which we use to play any music pre-service or post-service from the Apple computer that runs Proclaim. We often run music, pre-service, post-service music off that, and this is how we control the levels right there. Next is USB, anything coming from the USB, which is also the PC computer, or the Proclaim computer. And then finally, these last ones here are your effects returns, which we will not get into today. That'll be another video on effects. The final button here on the left set of 16 channels is the bus master, which we don't often use because it's basically just a copy of the 8 channels on this side. And so now if we look at the right side, here's a series of 8 channels that we can go through here. So your first channel, first button, first page is group DCA 1 to 8, which we aren't currently using, so we don't really need to look at that right now. Your next 2 are your buses, your bus channels. And so what is a bus? A bus is basically, think of like a city bus. You load a whole bunch of inputs onto the bus, and then from there you can take that bus wherever you want. A selection of inputs are on one channel, and then you can route that channel wherever you want. So for instance, the second page here is bus 1 to 8. Our first channel is the monitors, front monitors. Our second channel is the back monitors. Channels 3 and 4 is our broadcast stereo mix, and bus number 8 over here is our sermon recording that we use to record the sermons and control the volume. And these 3 in the middle, black screen, are not being used right now. If we go to the next page, bus 9 to 16, we're not currently using these 4 buses, bus 9, 10, 11, 12, and bus 13 to 16 are effects buses that, again, we'll get into in another video. And finally, our last page here is matrix 1 to 6. And so matrices are basically just another channel that we can grab from. So we're routing from a bus to a matrix. And so this matrix 5 and 6, controls the live stream volume, and this last matrix here controls the subwoofer volume. And on the far right here, which you'll notice hasn't changed no matter what we go through, no matter what page we're on, is our left-right master volume. That's basically our front of house volume, master volume. The other thing you'll need to know is about the gain knob, which is up here. This controls your gain for whatever channel you've selected. So if you select keys, you can move the gain up and down, or if you select guitar, you can move the gain up and down. Now that we've looked at the channel side, we've looked at the bus and matrix side, and we've looked at the gain knob, let's take a look at how to set up a monitor mix for the band up on stage. The first thing we'll do when making a mix on Sunday morning. So the first thing that we'll do is we will set the gain for each instrument. Now remember, the musicians might be a little confused because they won't hear anything in their monitors at first, but all we're doing is setting the gain for each instrument or vocalist so that we have enough gain to work with on our faders after. So what we'll do is we'll ask each instrument or vocalist to just play at about a medium strength volume, each one individually, and we'll set the gain so that up here we'll see it'll peak to about -18, and that makes sure we have enough gain structure to work with down the road, and we'll have enough volume coming into the mixing board. So let's take a look at that. We'll go down each instrument here and set the gain to the proper volume. All right, let's start with the vocalist, and we'll ask our vocalist to speak at a moderate to loud volume into their microphone. And just remember that during all this recording, I am working with pre-mixed and mastered music that is at a already high volume. So my gain knob will be a little bit lower than what you'll do on a Sunday morning, but the general principle is the same. If you need more gain to get a peak of about -18, then feel free to turn the gain knob up until you're peaking about -18. So we'll ask our vocalist to begin talking, speaking, even better if they're singing into their microphone. Have them start singing. We'll select our microphone here. We'll come up to our gain knob, and you'll see it's already at about -30 peaking, but we'll peaking a little bit there. And there we're hitting a fairly consistent -18, and so we are good with the vocalist. Next we see our keyboard player is ready, so we'll ask him or her to begin playing again at about a moderate volume, and we'll select the keyboard and we'll turn the gain knob up till it's about hitting a consistent -18, which is right about there. And then we're good. Next we'll ask our acoustic guitar to begin playing, strumming, doing whatever they need to do to give us some good volume about what they're going to play during the service. We'll select the guitar. We'll begin turning it up until we're looking right here, until it's giving us consistent -18, which is right about there. And then we're good. And so we ask the next, in this case, electric guitar to begin playing, which is channel number 6. So we select number 6. And he or she begins playing. And we turn this up again, looking at your levels to make sure you're hitting about -18. Right about there. And then we ask our bass player to begin playing. We select the bass channel, come up to our gain. There's a fairly solid -18. Finally, we ask our drums, which normally if we're miking the drums, they'll be about 4 or 5, but for just ease of simplicity this morning, I've just put it all on one channel. And there we go. I might be peaking a little bit, but that's pretty good. Okay, so there's all of our gain structures made for each of our instruments, and now it's time to get them some volume into the monitors. Okay, so we want to put volume to the monitors for our worship leaders to be able to hear themselves. So what we do is we go bus 1 to 8. Here's our front monitor and our back monitor. And now this is the secret, is that anytime we want to send a channel to the buses, we need to select the bus, front monitors, click Sends on Fader, and now anything that we raise or lower on these channels will send to this bus. So maybe on the front, we know the vocalists, we often have the vocalists and the acoustic guitar and maybe the keyboard player, because the people in the front need to hear the keyboard player and they want to hear a little bit of bass and they want to hear a little bit of the electric guitar. And the drums are so loud they don't need any drums in the monitor quite today. And so that's the front monitor. And so now the people in the back monitor, we select that. Now anything that we move on these channels are sends on fader to the back monitor. So on the back monitor, they want to hear the vocalist, so they know what's going on. They want to hear some acoustic guitar, they want to hear a little bit of electric. Bass player's in the back, maybe he needs a little bit more, and keyboard player needs a moderate amount. We just work with the musicians, make sure they can hear themselves, make sure everything's a good balance for themselves. And there you have a monitor mix. And so now they can hear themselves in the monitors and they are ready to begin a full practice. Okay, so the monitors are set up for the band and they are rehearsing away, and now it's time for us to begin setting up the front of house mix. So that is very easy. We just unselect Sends on Fader, and now whatever we do here will control the front of house. And so we want to turn our master up just a little bit. So we have some audio coming through. We can turn it up to about -5, leave us a little bit of headroom to go up and down. And then we just begin bringing instruments into the mix. And so we'll start with the microphone maybe. We'll bring a little bit of microphone in. Now this microphone might sound a little weird because I only have backup vocals, but that's okay, you get the idea. And then we'll maybe bring in the acoustic guitar and the electric guitar. Bring in the keys, bring in the drums and the bass. And there we go. We've got a front of house mix. Now this isn't a tutorial on how to do a proper mix, it's merely how to adjust the faders and get volume going through. So you'll have to mix it to your preferred mix style and what you think sounds best, and that again will be in another video. And the important thing is that we've got volume here, we can raise the subwoofer a bit and bring sub into, which will cover the bass guitar, cover the low end of the drums, might pick up some of the low end of the keys, but in general you now mix to what sounds nice. You've got your master volume, front of house volume here, your subwoofer here, and you can mix to however you think sounds good. And so there you go, you've got a front of house mixed. Now let's look at the live stream. And so to do that, it's very simple, very similar to the monitor mix. We go over here to our broadcast mix, we bring it up to a reasonable volume, go Sends on Fader, and now anything that we send from this input here is going through Sends on Fader to the channel we've selected. Now channel 3 and 4 are tied together, so we only need to do the one channel bus number 3, and it will do bus 3 and 4 together. So we set up a mix to how we want it to sound. They begin playing, we bring keys up, we bring microphone, bring some drums in, bring bass, guitar. Again, this isn't a lesson on what a mix should sound like, rather merely what buttons need to be moved to ensure we are sending audio signal to different places. The other thing we can do now, if we want to hear what this broadcast mix sounds like, we just click the solo button, and now in our microphones here on the left side, we can hear what is being sent through that channel. Anything we solo is being sent through, we can hear through the headphones. So we set up our mix and we're happy, and then what we do is we go to the matrix. So now remember, everything's going from here to the bus, and now that bus is being grabbed from the matrix. And so we just turn the volume up on the matrix until it's a reasonable volume. The key here to make sure you have the right amount of volume is to look on vMix, our live streaming software, and just make sure the audio level is at a good amount of volume. And it's just barely going into the orange on your vMix software. And then you know you've got a good amount of volume being sent to the live stream. And there you have it. You have a mix set up for the monitors, a mix set up for the front of house, and finally a mix set up for the live stream. And so in another video we'll look at how to EQ things, how to do effects, but this was just simply a video on how to route your audio to all the different needed positions so that we can run a Sunday service.